starting the segment. Hey YouTube, if you like the video, please like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, comment down below. I'll very, very much appreciate it. And Ben Shapiro, got triggered by Fox News because Fox News put out a really good segment on, the news last Friday. And it pretty much, the whole segment was just talking about how this regular ass, American ass parents and family, how they handled their situation with their son who is trans. And it is really, really heartwarming, and I really, really do like that video. I really like what they did, and they posted that. But of course, transphobes out there get super triggered at people being happy. So Ben Shapiro tweeted out a couple of stuff, just denouncing that, calling Fox News betrayers. They betray their own audience, and then saying that they hurt children, and the trans stuff is propaganda and is indoctrinating children. So yeah, so after that, he made this video, and this is a video that I do want to go over on stream because I have watched it, and he does say a lot of dumbass shit in this. But the most important thing, he just doesn't pretty much know what to say about it. He just doesn't really give out any good arguments either. So yeah, let's just start this.
Apparently now, the institutions of our society have become so corrupt that even conservative institutions, purportedly conservative institutions, are pushing propaganda. And this brings me to, again, this is the most disturbing thing that I have seen in quite a while.
Propaganda, it's pretty neutral. It just depends how you use it. Like, again, Ukraine using propaganda, telling their citizens to go into the military so they can get more people to fight off against Russia so they won't become an authoritarian state. I think that's good propaganda. Bad propaganda would be what Ben Shapiro is, just putting out lies and misinformation, fear that trans people are here to attack your kids and shit like that. I think that's bad propaganda. So propaganda is neutral. It depends how you use it.
Not because of what it says. I've seen this sort of content on CNN, MSNBC, Good Morning America for that matter. But because of where this appeared. So this appeared on Fox News on Friday. And the fact that this appeared on Fox News, a purportedly conservative network that stands for the values of traditional American conservatism and believes in Judeo-Christian values, and that it is propaganda.
I think it's Judeo-Christian values. The only person that puts out the Judeo-Christian values are fucking Ben and fucking Dennis Prager, because they're both Jewish. If you hear any other conservative talk about what religion is founded in America, they only talk about Christianity, and that's it, and they leave off the Jewish part. Which I think is funny, because if Ben Shapiro and his conservative friends were to take power, I guarantee they will kick Ben Shapiro and Dennis Prager out of here just because they're Jewish people.
Propagandizing openly on behalf of transing small children, because that's what this segment is.
Transing small children. What the fuck does that mean? Nobody transes children. Children just come out as being trans.
It was a 5-minute segment about why it is not just okay, it is good to try to turn your little girl into a little boy. And I want to go through it in detail because it is.
Well, they didn't try, they did. And it was the child's decision to become a boy, to become trans. It wasn't the parents.
Is suggestive of how the insane amorality and immorality of the left have completely penetrated mainstream conservative.
So that is it. This is why I love this video. This video is so good. This video is so good because this is him coping and him being so mad that he's losing, and I love it. Oh my god. I know it right here, his cup. I don't know if you can see it because of the bar, but it says leftist tears. But the only one crying is Ben. Is little Benny boy shedding tears because he knows he lost, and it feels so good.
Institutions, because everybody is so afraid of just saying no. This was on Fox News, and this is unbelievable to me. It's unbelievable to me. And frankly, as Matt Walsh has said, if I don't appear on Fox News because I'm saying this, well,
another transphobe,
so be it. But somebody is going to have to call out the fact that this is too important an institution for the right to simply let it go. It really is. Right? Again, if MSNBC or CNN did this segment, it'd be like, okay, well, that's par for the course. But Fox News, there are few enough conservative outlets, and Fox News being the largest, it kind of matters. If Fox News starts embracing the radical left gender ideology.
No, they're embracing truth. They're embracing reality, Ben, and you don't like that.
that the left espouses, it's no longer conservative and it can't be trusted. Honest to goodness, I don't know what they're thinking, but this is insane. So this appeared on
Again,
Fox
he hasn't made a single argument yet. We're at 143 right now, and he hasn't made a single argument against this. He just called it propaganda, and that's it.
News on Friday.
If you saw me walking down the street, you wouldn't think anything different.
14-year-old Ryland Whittington is a typical Southern California teenager. And the Whittingtons, along with mom Hillary, dad Jeff,
This is
and
such a
sister
heartwarming
Brinley,
video, for
are
real.
a typical family. The only difference, though,
I don't understand. Like, trans people are such a at a point right now that this person looks like the most average ass white boy that I have ever seen in my life. Like, holy shit! You know how many white boys I've seen that look exactly like this? Like over 200. It's insane. Good for him. Good for
in
him.
Ryland's eyes, is what this family can mean to the tens of thousands of kids under 18 who identify
Again,
as
like if you're walking down the street without knowing this person is trans, you just call this person a boy. Well, because he is, but still, you just call this person a boy. So I don't understand like
transgender.
this hate.
We put our story out there so people could see that like there's another family out there that is going through what we're going through, or there's another family who's proud of who they are.
Before Ryland could even speak, he managed to tell his parents that he is a boy.
I could just see that it wasn't him trying to be a brat. It was like painful. It was truly painful for him to have to wear feminine clothing and for us constantly telling him that you're a girl.
Okay, pause it for a second, please. This is insane. Before Ryland could speak, again, this is on Fox News. This is Fox News saying it is good to trans the children. Before the
No, Fox News is not saying it's good to trans the children, because transing children are, it just, no one does that. The child just came out as being trans, and that's it. And the parents are accepting of that.
kid could speak, she was saying she didn't want, first of all, since when do 2-year-olds make decisions? Okay,
Well, Ben Shapiro, I'm pretty sure 2-year-olds make decisions pretty much all the time. They make a decision whether they want a goddamn cookie or not. You know, they'll probably scream and yell until they want the cookie. I'm pretty sure that is a decision. If you're talking about like hard decisions, then, you know, I'm not too sure about that. But if you do not know this, I actually have to look this up. When do people know that they are trans? Now, here's a couple of studies and articles saying an individual awareness of gender identity and emergence of range of gender typical behaviors is usually established by the age of 2 to 3 years old. The earliest features of gender incongruence may start to become apparent at this age. Now, we also have another one here that says, after a while, she realized that she had inadvertently recruited a sizable group of 85 gender nonconforming participants ages 3 to 12, and as she kept in touch with the families over the years, she learned that some of those children eventually transitioned. So, there you go, Ben. A lot of trans people actually know that they are trans, or at least do not conform to the gender that they were assigned at birth at 3 years old, which is what this person did. The boy, he didn't conform to his female gender, and during 2 years old, and he didn't actually like socially transition until he was 5.
I have a 2-year-old. My 2-year-old this morning, I went into her room, and she was lying in her crib, and she had a large pee-filled diaper, and I said, "Is it just pee or is it poo?" And she said, "It's pee," and naturally there was poo inside. Is this the kind of person you want making decisions?
I don't know, Ben. Just because your little girl isn't as smart as this trans boy, that must be on you and your genes, Ben Shapiro. Maybe you're not as smart as you think you are. What about that?
Their lifelong.
Yep, 100%. If the person is trans and the kid believes that they are trans, you should let them transition. And if they get out of that and they say, "Okay, I don't want to be trans anymore," which pretty much never happens. It's very small for a person to detransition, and there's reasons for them to detransition. That's just like, oh, I just don't feel like being trans anymore. There's more of a reason to that. But if that does happen, they can just detransition.
"Quote unquote" gender identity. should I take my 2-year-old seriously when she expresses her needs, wants, and desires? Because if I did, she'd be wearing her sky pajamas all day long.
Why
Every
not? Why not let her wear her sky pajamas, Ben?
day.
Why not?
Dirty, filled with urine.
Hey,
So
hey, you can just take that shit off and throw it in a washer, clean it, throw it in a dryer, dry it out, and put it back on her. I feel like it's fine, and let her keep wearing that pajamas.
no,
Why not?
my 2-year-old does not get to make decisions. I love her. She's sweet. She's 2. It's because I love her that there are rules, and because I am the parent. But here's Fox.
No, this is the real issue. There's two big issues. One, Ben Shapiro is just transphobic. We all know that. And number two, I feel like a lot of people who are also transphobic, who are also like against gay, the kids being gay as well, just comes down to them hating, gay and trans people, but also them just wanting to control their child, and their kid coming out as gay or trans actually makes them feel like they don't have any control of their child anymore. So it's just like a selfish thing, which Ben Shapiro is like putting out all the signals that all he wants to do is just control his daughter, and that's it.
Fox
And
News
control children.
promoting the idea that kids, before they can speak, can pick membership in the.
Do you think your little girl, Ben? Do you think she thinks she's a girl? Okay, if she does, then why wouldn't a little child the same age as her wouldn't like identify as being a girl? That could happen. As if a little girl can identify as being a girl at 2 years old, then a little girl, child should also not identify as being a little girl at that same age.
Opposite gender. Kids don't even know the alphabet at this point.
Just because they don't know the alphabet doesn't mean they don't know what a boy and a girl is.
Literally, it says in the report, does not know how to talk. Does not know how to talk. And the parents
You can tell he's from New York. Twalk.
are like, oh, well, that must be the opposite gender, which means that this is Munchausen syndrome by proxy. That's all this is.
Again, Ben Shapiro is not a psychologist. He has no idea what the fuck he's talking about. And it's funny how he just keeps putting on this narrative that the parents are the ones forcing themselves, forcing the trans ideology onto the child, which is not true. Because later on in the same video is going to show that when the little boy, he came out as trans, the parents actually were against it at first. And then, the little debate boy, the little debate bro that the trans child is, debated his parents into letting him be, socially a boy. And that's when they let him. The boy debated his parents into being a trans person, which is, pretty good. A prodigy debate bro. I would love to see that boy debate Ben Shapiro, and I'm pretty sure Ben Shapiro would be destroyed on this topic.
These parents have decided that they wanted to trans their kid, and because they wanted to trans their kid, they were going to make up. And how do I know this?
Again, transing
because
kids
by
just
the time
doesn't
this
matter.
kid was 5, mom was writing books and going on national TV about this. By the time the kid was 5,
Okay.
that
Wait, what are you talking about? The kid was doing non gender conforming things at 3. If what you're saying was true, shouldn't it be before 3?
that's about the parents. That's not about the kid. They're horrible for this little girl. It's insane. Okay, and Fox News promoting it.
When Rylan came out at age 5, a few years later,
Came
he
out
had the
at age
full
5?
support
Yeah.
of his parents.
Initially, there was some pushback from us in trying to understand this.
We were confused like most people are.
Again, they said they pushed back.
We thought that gender and sexuality were the same thing. It took us a while to figure out that those two things are different, and that
True.
children actually do recognize their gender identity very young. Some of them, not all.
But they listened to Rylan and to Hillary's conservative faith.
For me, it's just a deep spiritual belief
Okay,
that
stop it right there. This is just open propaganda. Hillary's conservative faith, really? Tell me about how her conservative faith says there's no such thing as male or female and boys can be girls.
She never said there's no such thing as male and female. When did she ever say that? And B, her conservative faith could be like what? Her accepting and loving her child, Is that not part of conservative faith anymore, Benny boy? But yeah, she never, ever, ever said that there's no such thing as male and female.
Please explain.
I just feel like he's projecting right now.
Please explain how conservative faith tells you. Again, now we're speaking of faith context. And when we talk about transgenderism, I don't cite the Bible. But when you start talking about conservative faith, which suggests to me some sort of biblical adherence, how do you explain the opening of Genesis, which specifically says male and female he made them?
Okay, and that okay, but it doesn't okay. It doesn't condemn saying that Adam couldn't become a female. It just says Adam is a male and Eve is a female. That has nothing to do with saying that the trans people can't exist because of that. What?
Please explain how your conservative faith.
This is why, like, we gotta be more anti-theist here. We gotta be so much more anti-religion. Like, goddamn, these religious people always make the dumbest and the wackest arguments ever.
Says, by the way, the Bible specifically says men are not to dress like women and women are not to dress like men. Please.
Okay, but that shit is just so, like, depending on the time. Because, like, 200 years ago, men would wear high heels and wear dresses, you know, and have, like, long hair. Now, that it's seen more as a woman thing. But, you know, there had to be some kind of turning point and some parts where women started wearing high heels and those women were being, like, ashamed for wearing high heels. There had to be a turning point. So that just depends on, like, the fucking time area.
Please explain how it is that you believe that your conservative faith just...
Dog, that is a dumb point. Pro-trans say men and women are social constructs, not what they exist in, not that they exist in reality. Yeah, but social constructs exist, unless you're talking about, like out in reality and, like, as in nature. But social constructs are real, but they're just made up by people. Like I say, football is a real thing, but football, the sport, is made up by people. Football is a social construct, but it is real, you know. Yeah, but they don't agree with that. I have never heard anybody who doesn't agree with that. Maybe some Twitter dumbasses, because you can find every horrible and the most brain dead people on fucking Twitter. So there may be like one or two people, but a vast majority of people would agree with me and would agree with you on that. LMAO, bro. I mean, yeah, you're wrong, but yeah.
Justifies taking a baby girl and turning him into a socially transitioned baby boy who will always be a girl and who will now spend the rest of her life in this conflict with her own biology.
Again, Ben Shapiro. Okay, most normal people agree with that. OFC, but not trans activists. No, trans activists do agree with that. I don't. Again, show me some citations, but the only thing you're gonna look up is Twitter people. Of course, we both know Twitter people are fucking garbage, but 99% of trans activists believe what we both believe. And what he said here, again, Ben Shapiro has no idea that there is a difference between gender and sex. He has no idea. He doesn't know that sex is a social construct, but I mean, gender is a social construct, but sex is like a biological thing. He doesn't know that.
This is what Fox News is pushing. This is insane. Insane and insulting to its audience and insulting to reality, by the way.
Stay
the whole
mad,
thing
Ben.
is just pure propaganda.
Stay mad.
You believe in God and he, created us the way he wanted us. Well, then yes, he created Rylan just the way he is.
And
so that's why he needs. That's why he created Rylan the way is, which is why we're going to need to put puberty blockers in Rylan's. So God created this. We need to put puberty blockers in it. And
puberty blockers are good. Puberty blockers are pretty easily reversible. So yeah, they're pretty good if the person doesn't want to be trans anymore, which is something, again, like I said, something that doesn't really happen. They can just get off the puberty blockers and pretty much no harm done would be done to the child.
So maybe add a penis later on and cut off healthy breasts through messed. If we go through full transition, this is where it's going. Mm-hmm. Full on hormonal suppressants, testosterone treatments, pumping hormones into the body, changing the body's construction, changing the health outcomes, cutting off healthy breast tissue. Because that's the way God made it, says Mom with her conservative faith on Fox News.
Mm-hmm. They met in support groups.
There was a father who was sitting across the table. He says, "You have no idea how lucky you are to be here," which kind of took me back. I didn't at that point consider myself lucky to be there.
That isn't how puberty blockers work. I actually have something here. Many effects of hormone therapy, if you stop taking them, the degree which can be reversible depends on how long you've been taking them. Some breast growth they won't like get as much like as big boobs that they were before if you're like sexually a biologically a man, your dick might not be as big as like it could have been, but that's not really a big issue. And possibly reduced or absent fertility are not reversible, which if you don't want to have kids is actually a plus. But if you do want to have kids, that is like a thing that's bad to happen. But that is just some. So a vast minority of that happens. Most of the times is just reversible.
He said, our child had displayed this gender dysphoria or this gender misalignment at the same age that Rylan has, and we didn't listen, and we pushed back.
That pushback.
This is just talking points. That is just a random sentence. Dog, what the fuck are you talking about? This comes from a study of talking about how information on hormone therapy. Just a sentence? Dog, you're such an anti-intellectual. What the fuck? Go read Irreversible Damage on the book. It's probably, where's that? Give me a link to that. Because it's probably debunked. Because most of the science, if not all the science, disagrees with you.
Back led that child to turn to self-harm as a teenager, which 60% of trans and non-binary kids engage in, according to the Trevor Project. More than 50%.
It's a book, LA. You're not gonna, you can't give me like at least like a fucking page or like some parts of like the book and put it and link it down so I can read at least like some paragraphs of it. You just really want me to just order a book off Amazon and just like read it and then just, and just, or you're not going to give me like, you could give me like a summary of it, link me like a summary that I could read or something. Like what? You can gaslight all you want, but that sentence you read, depending on the length of which you have taken them and with no other issue, you can find the book for free, you fucking spread. Okay, then just send it to me. That's all I want. The summary of the book when you Google. Okay, just link it to me. That's all I want. Just link it to me. Or link me a summary. Like, what? Like, why are you so triggered? Why are you getting so mad? I just want you to do something. You just can't do that? You can't do a simple thing? It's your brain. Your brain cells are so gone that you can't do a simple thing? Is it this? Trender seducing. Barnes and Noble. List price $28.99 for free, my ass. Here, there you go. A Wikipedia page. There you go. You could have just linked me this Wikipedia page. 2020 book by average scale, published by average generating. The book endorses the concept rapid gender dysphoria, which is not recognized as a medical diagnostic by any major professional institution and is not backed by credible scientific evidence. Okay, dog. So this book isn't backed by any credible scientific evidence. Nice. So this is your book. This is the book that you hold up as your Bible. Like, oh my God, this is the truth. This is the reality. A book that is not backed by credible scientific evidence. Nice, nice dog. Nice. You're such an intellectual dog. Your brain, your omega level brain is outpacing my own. Nice. States that there's a sudden severe spike in transgender identification among adolescent girls in 2010s, referring to teenagers, sudden people at birth. A sudden severe spike. Maybe the sudden severe spike is that trans people were getting more accepted in society, so a lot of them actually like feel safe coming out. So maybe that's the reason. Hashtag trust the science. I mean, if again you're just being super anti-intellectual, like you're not putting any evidence putting up, and you only trust the science if it's on your side. Because like I said, I would have taken this book if it actually had some like good evidence for it, but it doesn't look like it has. Summary, background, publication, media distribution, reception. Responses to the book have been divided. It was positively reviewed by Nick Cater, The Spectator Australia, by The Economist, and by Emily Hurricane in an Irish Independent, by Madeleine Kurz in a National Review. Okay. It received mixed reviews from The Theologian, Tina Bad on the Table, Psychologist, Christopher Ferguson. Okay. Then it was named Economist Book of the Year. The Economist called the book first sexual treatment subject. Coverage of remark in mainstream paper created illustrator was telling the stories, although she interviews with great color. Wikipedia didn't tell me what to think, I would have my own thoughts. Apparently, no, yeah. Yeah, you have your own thoughts by just reading a book that has no credible science behind it at all. So nice, yes. Yes, you're a free thinker. Thank you. You're a free thinker. She criticized her use of the anecdotes. Oh, anecdotes from parents or professionals. Apparently, nice, cool anecdotes from parents because they know it. They know every fucking thing. Nice. The professional thing, you know what? Could be a true thing. Who knows? Apparently, unbeknownst to the subjects themselves, she wrote that while many of Cher's claims may be open to challenge, the report increase in cases of adolescent onset dysphoria should be a cause for much greater caution in disquiet than is currently the case. I don't want to stay at this topic so long. That is something I definitely should look into more, though.
Consider suicide.
That for me
Anyways,
was the
let's
turning
keep
point.
going.
I didn't want to see Ryland go through that.
I'd rather have a living son than a dead daughter. And I
This is
guarantee
propaganda.
that if-
Okay, that's pure Trevor Project propaganda. The idea that your choice is between a suicidal girl and a perfectly happy boy is nonsense. It's nonsense. Longitudinal studies show the suicidal ideation rate among LGBT youth is way higher than among cisgender youth, like way higher, and it remains that way no matter the treatment, no matter the. So if you take a kid
That
who
is
confused.
That is false, what Ben Shapiro says right here, and I know exactly what the fuck he's talking about. He's talking about the sweetest study that everybody cites, every transphobe cites, and it is funny because Dijon, or I don't know how to say her name correctly, but she is actually the person who wrote that study that Ben Shapiro is currently citing right now, and she even disagrees with what Ben Shapiro and other transphobes are saying. Because it says right here, before I contacted you for the interview, were you aware of the way your work was being misrepresented? Yes, it's very frustrating. I've seen professors use my work to support ridiculous claims. I've often had to respond myself by commenting on articles, speaking with journalists, and talking about the problem at conferences. The Huffington Post wrote an article about the way my research is misrepresentative. At the same time, I know for instances whether ethical researchers and clinicians have used this study to expand and improve access to trans healthcare and impact systems of all anti-trans opposition. Of course, trans medical and psychological care is infectious. A 2010 meta-analysis confirmed by studies thereafter showing that medical gender-conforming interventions reduces gender dysphoria. So the person who wrote the study that Ben Shapiro is quoting right here, that's saying that transitioning kids doesn't actually reduce the amount of them wanting to commit suicide, is completely wrong. The person who wrote the study completely says that that him and other transphobes are misrepresenting her work and that she disagrees with what they're saying. So Ben Shapiro, of course, it's wrong, but it's weird because he has the same talking point he had like 10 years ago, or like not even 10 years, like back in 2014 or probably earlier than that. He has the same talking points, and he hasn't learned to just change his talking points because even the author herself debunks what he says here. So it just clearly shows that Ben Shapiro is in his own echo chamber, and he just does not want to get out of it.
You refuse the possibility of desistance, which is what happens for the vast majority of kids who have
And
gender.
also, I have a study right here, article right here, saying that a new study published in LGBT Health found that 13.1 of currently identified transgender people has detransitioned at some point in their lives, but that 82.5% of those who have detransitioned attribute their decision to at least one external factor, such as pressure from family, non-affirming school environments, which means they got bullied and harassed at school, and increased vulnerability to violence, including sexual assault. The study was authored by researchers at the Fenway Institute and Massachusetts General Hospital, Harvard Medical School, and is believed to be the first rigorous study of factors that drive transgender and gender diverse people to detransition. So there you go.
Questioning at young ages. The vast majority, somewhere between 75% and 90% of kids who have gender questioning at a young age will
What do
grow.
you mean I'm making complaints about echo chambers, but talks to himself and no one makes a point? Keswick, I'm disagreeing with you right now. And if you want, do you want to get on? I'll debate you right now. I'll hit you. I'll whisper you a Discord link. You can hop on my Discord and I can debate you on transgenderism right now if you want. But I don't know why you're talking about how my point is completely irrelevant. It's not. And telling me I misrepresented what he said, I didn't. He's just saying some real dumb shit right now.
Grow out of it. Many of them turn out to be gay, but many of them grow out of it, whether it's gay or straight, whatever. When you stop that, when you start socially transitioning a child and reinforcing in the child the notion that this kid is meant, what do you think that kid's going to do?
So you said, why don't you rewind then and listen to what he said? I know what he said. I reversed just for you, boo boo, just for you, okay? Just because I know your brain cells can't handle the information processing, but I know I'm right.
What happens for the vast majority of kids, way higher, and it remains that way, is nonsense. It's nonsense. Longitudinal studies show the suicidal ideation rate among LGBT youth is way higher than among cisgender youth, like way higher, and it remains that way no matter the treatment, no matter the...
It remains that way no matter the treatment. And that's where I talked about this fact check right here, where the person who talked about that Ben Shapiro is quoting is saying that trans medical and psychological care is infectious. So of course, Quizwick, you're wrong. You're wrong. You're so dumb. You're actually stupid, dog. Holy shit. Cope harder, because I know I'm right, and I completely debunk what he said right there. I mean, you can just pretend that's not what he's saying, because I know you have to cope, because your intellectual daddy, he has to remain pure and remain right the entire time. But he's wrong here. He's just straight up wrong. Cope harder. Cope harder. And I can find studies to counter yours. Go ahead and find them. And I guarantee I can find even more studies that debunk your studies, okay? Because you've been wrong since you've been here.
So if you take a kid who is confused and you refuse the possibility of desistance, which is what happens for the vast majority of kids who have gender questioning at young ages, the vast majority, somewhere between 75% and 90% of kids who have gender questioning at a young age will grow out of it. Many of them turn out to be gay, but many of them grow out of it, whether it's gay or straight, whatever.
See? And there he says. And also, Keswick, when I talked about how I went to a completely different topic, the reason why I went to a different topic because Ben Shapiro went to a different topic, saying that kids detransition and they just end up being gay, which is just not true. And the reason why some of them detransition is because they were pressured by external factors, like the shit I just said.
When you stop that, when you start socially transitioning a child and reinforcing in the child the notion that this kid is meant, what do you think that kid's going to do? Now the kid has to stand up to mom and dad in order to say, no, actually, I am a girl. This is madness.
What are you talking about? The boy debated his parents into saying that he's transgender.
And I'm not going to get over the fact that this is on Fox News because it demonstrates how the mainstream institutions of our society, including the ones that you may trust as a conservative,
I love
are now
it.
stabbing you to...
Again, he has a bottle right here that says leftist tears, but he's the only one crying. Him and Quizzic in the chat, both of them are crying so hard.
Between the shoulder
Cry
blades
harder. Oh, I love
this
it.
kind of stuff.
We had pushed back and done what a lot of parents do. I don't think that we would have either one of the kids that you see before you here today.
Allowing him to live authentically and true to himself and be who he really feels like he is. When you get to know Rylan, you see just how proud and confident he is of himself.
Rylan's story got international attention in 2014 when a family YouTube video went viral. And Hillary has since written a book called Raising Rylan.
Okay, pause it there. There's a shock. In 2014, this kid is now 14. Okay, I may not be amazing at math. The kid is 14. That means he became an international superstar trans kid at age 6.
Okay.
At age 6. Does this seem like safe parenting to you, or does this seem like child abuse? Taking a small kid, socially transitioning a small kid at the age of 6 after saying that the kid was exhibiting the notion that she wanted to be a he before she could talk. And then you're writing books and going on national TV. Does it seem like really on Fox News?
Yeah.
Okay, keep going.
Fine.
I never thought that I would be known.
You know, other parents do that with like child actors and like child like superstars and like in child pageants and shit like that. This is way better than those things because all they're doing is letting the boy be himself.
Or
And when it comes to like pageants and having like child actors and child like superstars and singers, a lot of them children, they don't want to be that. A lot of them. But when it comes to children being trans, the children want to be trans.
this, like, as well as I am, but really it's just a small part of who I am.
He just brushes things off his shoulders, like it's fine. He moves on in his life, and he's just kind of think everything we've been through. He's just like learned to do that, and he's really good at it. I could never do that.
The Whittingtons believe sharing their story could make a lasting difference in another child's life, something they learned from that support group father nearly a decade ago.
I'm just here to make the ride smoother for others. You might be struggling right now, but we believe in you. This family, we might not know you, we might not know where you live, but, you know, we understand you and we believe in you.
Just a pure propaganda piece.
What extraordinary courage displayed by
Again,
Ryland, his
Benny Boy has no argument against this, so he just said all he can say is this is propaganda and that's it, because he has no arguments against this. And you can actually play a drinking game on how much he says propaganda, or maybe don't, because you'll probably die of alcohol poisoning.
sister Brinley, father Jeff, and mom Hillary. I want to thank the Whittington family for
This
speaking
guy is
to
super
us.
based.
It's not easy, particularly at a time when transgender issues have been politicized. People are afraid
True.
of what they do not understand. Dana.
True.
This family hopes their story will lead to more understanding,
True.
more acceptance, and ultimately more love.
Just
Nice.
pure propaganda, pure insane propaganda. People
Again, he has no argument, so that's all he can say.
are afraid of what if we do understand your agenda?
You don't.
What if we are afraid of is the agenda, because
No, because you just hate children, Ben. You just hate children.
the agenda is garbage, and because it's harming children, and because
It's not harming children. When I talked about why trans kids commit suicide, it's because of people like you, Ben. You're hurting children. Okay, you're harming children here, because if you were more accepting of trans people, they wouldn't commit suicide.
it's deliberately promoting propaganda that is based not in science, but
It
in
is based in
ideological
science.
nonsense rooted in opposition to Judeo-Christian values and
Of
traditions.
course, that's his real thing. Is against religion, and I don't care if it's against religion. You know what? If it's against religion, that's based, but is actually not, because there's nothing in the Bible. I don't know about what Jewish people, the Torah. I think that's what Jewish people say. But in the Bible, there's nothing against trans people in there. Just like in the Bible, there's nothing against gay people in the Bible. It's people just misrepresent and misinterpret what the Bible says. So yeah,
and mores and rules and roles. What if that's what we are concerned about?
Stay
and what if
mad.
we're particularly concerned when it starts taking
Stay
over major
mad.
American
Cope.
conservative institutions like
high
Fox
on
News?
cope.
If you're a Fox
This
News reader,
man
you should think
is.
very seriously about whether you wish to give a company that promotes this kind of stuff your business. Seriously. I want to watch Fox News. I'm friends with a huge number of people who work at Fox News, including most of the hosts. And I know that most of the hosts do not
I don't
agree
hate Fox News. I have friends that work in Fox News.
with Fox News becoming a propaganda outlet on behalf of the most radical left agenda on this sort of stuff. They can't. There's no way they do.
Again,
That's
he
awesome.
barely made any arguments. The only arguments he made was that this is hurting children and this is against his religion. Those two things are the only thing that he made. The only arguments that he made in this entire fucking rant video.
Many of them, and I know they don't, as a matter of fact. The fact that management, I assume, crammed this down or went ahead with this because this was greenlit. It was a fully produced segment, which cost Fox
Yeah.
money.
Yeah, stay
It's a
mad.
betrayal of Fox's
Yeah.
audience. It's a betrayal of many of the people who work
Yeah.
at Fox. And
good.
more than anything, it's a
Cry more.
reinforcement of the deep rot that
Cry
is taking
more.
place at the core of our institutions, including in many conservative institutions, which are either too cowardly to defend values that matter or have joined full scale in the attack
Nice.
on those values.
Big L.
I hope you
Ben Shapiro took a big L here, and I love it. This is probably one of my favorite Ben Shapiro videos that he has ever made, because he's just crying. He's crying, he's bitching, and he's complaining that he lost and that he is currently losing and that he has no idea of what reality is, and that he's mad that that Fox News, at least a part of it, is actually, you know, adhering to reality. So that's good. I love this video. It's so good. I love it. seeing him almost bring himself to tears. Ooh, give me more of that Ben Shabibo. But yeah, that's all I wanted to talk about there in this video. If you like the video, please like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, comment down below. I'll very, very much appreciate it. And again, trans rights.